employee in the village of Dolton, within a year's time, you have to be a resident of the village. So it kind of helps out in moving us forward and getting those houses occupied once they are done. And
It's a very good point. The other point that I failed to bring up is Mr. Ryden's organization is not a for-profit organization like an investor. Hypothetically speaking, he inherits these properties or receives them through donation. They do an assessment. They put in, we'll use a number of $25,000. They're not like a regular investor that says, I've got to double or triple my investment. They have to cover their costs, maybe make a little to cover the closing costs, and that's all they want. So that the house on the open market, if an investor had it, if it took $25,000 to bring it to completion, it might go on the market for $75,000 to $95,000. Russ may market it for $30,000 just to get it on the tax rolls. That's his goal. His goal is to get rid of blighted areas in South Cook and Will County. That's what the goal of their organization is.
but we take a loss, right?
No.
We right now are not losing, we're gaining good
but-
housing stock rather than something dormant. We're getting rid of the taxes that we can't get rid of. Eventually, those properties are gonna have to be torn down because we had an offer on one of the houses of $5,000 where a gentleman, a resident here, came public and said, I wanna buy it for $5,000. The taxes were over $25,000. We would have taken a $20,000 loss. In this case, it's a win-win for everybody. We get rid of the properties, they get rehabbed, they're put on the market, they're put back on the tax rolls, and it didn't cost the village anything.
Russ, can you run down again the steps for going forward when we donate you these properties? Which probably going to do a deed in.
Yeah.
Can you explain exactly step by step what happens?
So the deed in lieu, I think everybody's probably at least a little bit familiar because the only way to get rid of back taxes is through only a couple ways, and that's state law we all deal with. We are in what's called an intergovernmental agency, but we exist only based on our municipal agreement. So when a municipality signs an agreement with us, they basically, we inherit the same abilities the municipality has. So to get rid of the back taxes that you guys have on those properties, really the only way is through like a deed in lieu, where we agree that we'll perform some task and then we will get the properties in lieu of a payment for those. Then we go to the treasurer's office and then say we are taking these properties deed in lieu, we want all the back taxes cleared. Once that is done, or if we have any trouble doing that, we'll work directly with the Cook County Land Bank, who is a Cook County agency and has some additional powers that we don't have. So if we need to go that route, we go that route. And then once the property is cleared, the taxes and the title's cleared, it's marketable at that point. I mean, it's, you know, then you don't have that encumbrance of $20,000 or $30,000 that it's not worth, you know, in attached to the property being in bad condition. So while that kind of tax abatement process is going through, we will rehab the property probably throughout that process, so it may be done in conjunction with getting the taxes wiped out, so then the property would be rehabbed and with a marketable title that we can go sell to somebody that had, you know, there's no liens.
So is there some properties that you do not rehab and you sell them back to a buyer as is?
Yes, but then in those circumstances, you know, depending on the town, we've got to have, you know, compliance that those properties will be brought up to code. So if it's an investor or developer who's going to rehab the property, they've got to agree to a scope of work and that they're going to do certain things within a certain time. And if they don't, you know, there's penalties or there's something that can happen. But with the idea that, you know, a lot of times the private sector can do it much better than we can, and they can be efficient. We just got to monitor what they're doing. And just remember too, this doesn't get them past anything that the village wouldn't be doing. So they'd still come to you for permits, we'd still come to you for permits to do all the work, so you'd be monitoring it either way. But if it's an investor, their obligation is still to come and get permits and do the work according to code and get inspected and all those kind of things. So then once the work is done, if we're doing the rehab, it's gonna be marketed probably pretty close to when it's being done, so the realtor can show it. And we work with local realtors. I've got a number of local realtors we procured, they're all from the area, so they will list it basically immediately once we're, to the point where we've got title and we know which kind of direction, if we're rehabbing or not. And I should say too, on the rehab side, we have rehab money. We don't need rehab money. We will inject our funds as needed. If it's a property that is so far gone, if one of these, just needs to be demolished, we have demolition funds. So that's something maybe we don't really want to do, but if we have to, we've got money for that too. And we're working with the sheriff's department on their demo program too, so we can bring in some resources like that if needed. Is it?
Yeah, thank you. Very detailed. That's all I have.
You talk about getting rid of the old taxes, do you also work on reducing the taxes? Because a lot of things, some of the taxes on these houses are $4,000 or $5,000, which keeps people,
Kind of a bigger problem.
I mean, you can pick up a house for 10 grand and your taxes are some of the taxes in this town are very high.
Yeah, and unfortunately, some of our other towns are even higher. So, it's something we're trying to work kind of globally on to see if there's so many issues that are causing that we can abate them while we hold them, and then hopefully it gets reassessed and brought to a reasonable level once it's sold to somebody. But there's not much we can do kind of beyond that.
I know the township helps with people reduce their taxes, so that's another avenue.
Yeah, and I think as we start doing more redevelopment, and we've been working with the village on a couple projects, as you build that commercial tax base back up, it's gonna help the residential side of things a lot. So, and as these vacant homes start getting filled up, and you got people in, paying taxes, buying, groceries, those kind of things, that's all gonna help the tax base eventually.
So is there a tax bill present, meaning current, and you just get rid of the back taxes, correct? Who pays for the current tax bill?
We would abate it since we're an agency, so we would abate it as long as we have it. And then once it's sold, then it goes back on once the buyer
Okay.
takes it.
So the buyer would have to, once you all have rehabbed it, the buyer would have to pay those back taxes.
No, the back taxes would be
I'm sorry.
gone. It would just be
I'm
like the
sorry,
village is holding
I'm
it.
sorry, I misheard, I didn't hear you right, that's okay.
Yeah, no, it'd just be like the village holding it. You're not paying
Gotcha.
taxes on it,
At
but
all.
once it's sold, then.
It's sold. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No more questions?
No, I
Move this.
apologize again, he was kind of low, I didn't
We'll
hear.
put this on for the formal board meeting to be voted on. We'll have the village attorney work with the South Suburban Land Bank's attorney to drop the documents, and we'll get that thing going.
I have one more question. This sounds like such a great deal, but if you have other homeowners that want to walk away from the home, can they walk it to you?
Absolutely, yes.
So we
Yes.
could direct people that have trouble right to you?
Yep. We don't have a lot of funding to pay if somebody owes a lot of, a mortgage or something, but if it's a donation or a very, low kind of price situation, I'd be happy to talk to them. We've taken a number of properties that have been donated by individuals, so that's something we're definitely capable of. And I should say, we also have an incentive program that if a resident of one of our communities refers a buyer to one of our properties that closes, there's a $500 incentive that we'll pay. It's all the legal stuff's not worked out, but I promise if somebody, finds us somebody and we close on that, we will pay that. We've already approved it from our board. And it's just for residents of our communities that are signed up with us, so adult residents would be involved. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Irvin, I'm in favor of moving forward with the land bank.
All right, well, this will be, I believe it's the February 3rd is in the next formal board meeting,
Yes.
second or third. whatever.
Anyone else? I think trustee Vendale
I was
has
gonna
one.
say I'm in favor of moving it forward.
I am too.
I'm in favor.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Final thing on the agenda for tonight is item C, Channel 4 Comcast Cable Station. Resolution, ordinance, motion, discussion only. Trustee Henyard.
Well, I asked for this to come on the agenda for the simple fact, a lot of residents ask me where's Channel 4. I've been canvassing, door knocking, and everybody wants to see what goes on in our town by doing Channel 4. So, basically, I put it up again for discussion to get everybody input on what's the next step so we can make this happen. One way that we can make this happen is I talked to Ken Wright, who's currently our video person, and he can go inside the building and get the, is it IP code off of the server, Ken?
Yeah, pretty much the IP addresses.
The IP addresses off the server, and basically we can be up and running tomorrow. So I just wanted to know who's in favor of that, and I know Captain Vendale, who's really key on Channel 4, so I thought you would be in favor of it, and so is the rest of the board. So I just want to get some input from the board.
So how does this exactly work? It's an IP address that,
Yeah, we'll let
I will
you.
go into the, when the system was purchased, it was purchased to be able to be remote access. So I will go in and get the information that's needed, then go back to my house. After I download the video, I would then send it directly to the hard drives for Channel 4 and put a program in so it would air on the days you want to air. And I can control that from home.
so this would go to in Homewood, or this would go to the old building?
The old building, the building up in the area.
Now, is there a way that when the old building is gone, that there's gonna be some equipment that Comcast will supply us, that we can do it in
I'm
the
not,
future?
I mean, at one point in time, I would know that information, but I haven't had dialogue with anyone, so I don't know how it works, but I do know all we would have to do is move the fiber setup to whatever new address, and that operation can continue, or you can continue manually inserting and playing.
So the equipment in there is in good enough condition, you're saying?
Last I saw, everything was, yes, that's from the last time I saw. I have no idea at this point.
And how many times are you saying you need to get in the building?
I was just going to build them once to do, get all the information. I'll make a cell phone call or two to the company to make sure if anything, any information I would need, I can call them, get all that, and then come out there and go home and start shooting over.
Okay. Now, we were told by the mayor that there was mold in the building. If there's mold in the building, I don't know what the board thinks needs to happen, whether we...
I got quite a few years of firefighter experience. I have no problem putting on a self-contained breathing unit, borrow one self-contained breathing unit from the fire department if that's possible.
That was my question.
And just go inside, do what I gotta do, come back out.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with you going in, I just want to make sure that it's safe for you,
Right.
for you to go in.
Yeah.
I have no problem at all with you going in.
Chief Hughes?
Matter of fact, Chief, I'd like you to weigh in on that. What is the,
I
if there is
cannot
mold
let
in
him,
it?
I cannot let him use one of our SCBA's.
You cannot what?
We cannot let him use one of our SCBA's.
Oh, no, I don't mean let him use it, but I mean, is it something that he would be able to do if he had his own respirator or?
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as it's, yeah,
And do you need to make an assessment of it at all, or?
we could do that before, we could go with them, we could do that beforehand, whatever.
Okay.
That's kind of simple.
Sound like a
Yeah,
start.
sound like a plan. Sound like a plan we should have done months ago.
'Cause I haven't been in, I don't know who's been in there lately, I have no idea what kind of condition it's in right now.
So can you all like set something up so you can do that immediately and get together and go in there in the light of day and get this done, so maybe by the end of the week, we can be up and running on Channel 4?
Yeah, we could get in there whenever he's available. Whoever has the key, you gotta give me the key or stuff or whatever, so. But we're here 24 hours a day, so whenever he's available.
Okay.
So is that agreement that Chief Hugh and Ken can get together and make that happen? Is that agreed upon?
Whenever you're available, we'll get somebody over there, yeah.
So basically, you saying we just have to get a key for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, go with
The
someone.
mayor have the key, we don't have the key, none of the trustees, so you can probably get the key from him.
Now, Tiffany, my understanding is that Ken has taped all the meetings, so we have the CDs. But on the website, it has for the.
Mr. Urban, you need it in here, Mr. Urban.
The website has a spot for the videos to go up.
Right.
It's just up to Charius to put those on there.
Correct.
Okay, so those need to be given to him to be able to do that.
Right, remember, I gave that up, and
Yeah,
you
but
guys meeting,
I mean,
guess.
that's on the website, and Charius is the person that does that.
Correct.
So then we'd have it in 2 locations. If something happened with the Comcast, we'd
Right.
have it on the website so people could see it too.
Right, and it is on the website, remember I initiated that. I made a YouTube channel for us because it was like, no, we're Channel 4, and we didn't have anything up.
Because the minutes are not there either, for some.
I don't know who does the minutes, but the video,
Well,
I know
minutes
that he
were
does
given.
put the video up.
The minutes were given to Charius, but they're not on the website.
Okay.
I have a problem with that.
I think any of us should call.
Yeah.
It don't have to be any one person,
I totally
anybody wants
agree,
to call.
anybody can take
You
responsibility.
could call him.
Yeah.
How many of our tapes does he have? That's not, because I haven't looked recently, but a couple of weeks back I did look and there was nothing.
And that's a good question. When I gave it up, no tapes have went up. So nobody picked it up and went and put tapes on YouTube at all. So I would love to know that answer. Why is Ken taping our meetings and they're not going up on YouTube? So I don't know.
Are you
You have to
giving
ask
them
Mary
password
Kay
to
and
He's
the mayor and
He was,
the administrator.
he was asked to give them to Mary Kay, and Mary
Correct.
Kay is to give them to Charius, or to whoever wants a
Mary Kay, who you supposed to give the tapes
Video,
to?
right.
Yours go up on YouTube.
I have not been directed to give them to Mr. McLaurin Charius. At this point, I have been attempting to upload the minutes for the past year with Mr. McLaurin, with the ordinances to follow, with the resolutions to follow, and of course with the tapes to follow. But right now, Mr. McLaurin is not responding to my request for assistance.
But then maybe we need to
We need to
switch.
fire him. No, you're not gonna be taking our money and not doing the job.
Because I knew he couldn't do it when he took it for
Yeah.
$250 in the first place. That was
He
the
been
biggest
doing his
question.
job. I never have an issue with him. Every time I
Oh, I
call,
don't
I
have-
get a response.
I don't-
And every time I needed something up on YouTube, the tapes have been up. Every single time.
I will weigh in now, and I apologize, I needed to talk to Russ about some things, but I have not had any problems with Charius. Within a reasonable amount of time, it was always put up. If it needed to be up that day, I had to clarify that in my email or my personal contact phone. I was saying, I need this up now. I'll give as an example. When we were using the Dorchester recently as a warming center, you can't wait 4 days to put that on the webpage. It's got to go up within an hour. Now, that being said, the first time that I am not getting feedback is since last week, Friday. I sent an email to Charius because Clerk Dugan came to me and said, Stan, all these things have been supplied to him in the way of minutes, agendas, whatever it is. And it's literally a year's worth of work. So I sent him an email, and I have not got a response yet. It was a weekend, it's a holiday. Tomorrow I will reach out to him by phone and email and see why he hasn't put these up. Clerk Dugan says she has supplied him these minutes, I don't want to say it wrong, but several months ago. And there's several emails going back and forth from her to him, and they're still not up. This is the first time that I've had any problems with anything with Charius. So I don't have an answer. As I said, I reached out to him Friday. I haven't gotten a response back. Normally, I get a response back within 24 to 48 hours.
So we can move forward with this thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we hold up payment, he'll call.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go back to the media center. So the agreement is that Ken and the chief, the fire chief, will go in the building to get the IPE address off of the server, is that right?
Okay.
Okay, can you initiate, some kind of agreement to get the keys from the mayor so they can enter into the building, Mr. Irvin?
What kind of agreement we have? I believe this village board passed an ordinance
Okay,
giving you access, but yet the mayor refuses to give the keys.
correct. So I just wanted
don't walk
the
on
residents
water.
to understand
I'm
that.
good, but I don't walk on water. I
Okay.
will be happy to ask him when I see him again for the keys. I'll report back whether I get them or I don't.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and for the record, I just want to make that note that, Mayor, we are asking for the keys to enter into the building to get access to Channel 4 so we can put the videos up online and on Channel 4.
Yeah, you want to call him? You call him, because I can get a little emotional. I just got through looking at what we have on YouTube, and I have to say, the only pictures I saw, and I have to base this on me,